All right. The next question I'm also excited about, quite realistic. It's related to what are your options if your career or if the career you're interested in has a poor outlook? Now, that's a challenging one. So, should we start with Mark this time?
Yeah, that's really interesting. What are your choices? How do you deal with the situation if your career has a poor outlook to it? Well, look, you can't change the market. Let's just say, I mean, you really do need to look which way is the wind blowing on this one, which way is the river running with this, and think to yourself, do I have the resource? Do I have the power to withstand the way that the tide is turning on this? Do would that be a good lesson for me? Do I want to stand in that water anyway, even though the tide is turning? Because I want to be the person that I was the last standing on this one. We were on the ship going down, and we went down, and we went down in a glorious manner on this particular industry, which had zero future for it. Because there'll always be survivors in that who will innovate on that. So look, don't feel that you cannot join in on a sector, an industry, a vocation, a profession that looks to be going down, because others will innovate, and maybe you want to be part of that innovation. At the same time, if you don't think you have the stomach for that, then probably not the time to join in. Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it also depends on how do you define, poor outlook. Is this so? For example, I know someone I talked to recently that they've decided they want to go into being a truck driver, and there's various reasons for that. And this is a job that pays well for them. They're excited about it, but also it's a job that I think technology is going to eliminate with self-driving cars. Trucks are going to be the first ones to come around. So should they do it or should they not do it? Well, they're going to do it for a period of time. I would just go into it knowing that it's likely that things are going to change. But who knows? You learn enough about it. You may be the person then sitting comfortably in the control room as opposed to the cab of the truck, working with managing the fleet somewhere. So to Mark's point, there's always innovations and changes. Now that poor outlook, the way you're defining it may be, well, what if it doesn't pay? And I talk to people all the time who are like, I want to do something good. I want to be helping people. I want to be helping others, helping the poor, helping the homeless. I mean, unfortunately, and this is kind of maybe a cynical statement, but in many places, helping people who are less fortunate doesn't pay. Helping people with a lot get a lot more does. This is kind of a financial reality, especially in capitalist-based countries. And so you're going to have to think about, well, if the poor outlook is a financial poor outlook, how can I make that work? And do I have to adjust what my expectations are and what I can live with? I can tell you this. I know people who don't make a lot of money by the standards of most, who are incredibly happy because they do what they love. And they've found a way to make their life fit that. They're not wearing all the latest fashion trends. They're not driving the newest cars or living in the biggest homes, but they're incredibly happy. I know people who make literally millions of dollars a year, who spend a little bit more than they make and are miserable about everything in their life and feel like they never have enough. So, poor outlook, if that's financial, you have to decide what matters to you financially and what prizes and punishments you're willing to put up with. Poor outlook, if it's where the organization itself is going, where the industry is going, you have to decide, as Mark said, can I be a part of the innovation of what happens, or what can I learn from that? What great lessons are there? I've been in companies whose outlook became poor. I was a part of Arthur Andersen when Enron hit. I didn't expect that. And that, the company was gone overnight. A $10 billion organization disappeared. But I learned an incredible amount at that point. I also learned what people are like when the chips are down. I learned how to deal with stressful situations. And if someone says to me, well, what do you bring to the table from something like being in that company that didn't do well? It's like, have you ever been there when the ship is going down? Do you know how to help? Do you know how to pull out survivors? Do you know how to get into the rowboats? Because I do. I've been there when the fire was burning hot, and that gives me an advantage. So you could always turn things to your advantage with learning. So I would say, look where the learning is, be aware of where it's going to go, be aware of what poor outlook means to you and what choices you'll have to make eventually, and make the most of that, and then make the choices to change when you need to make those choices.
Love these answers. I think you really nailed it. Thank you so much for your time. And for people who are watching or listening to this, simply drop your questions at michaelleckie.com/ask or in the comments below.